Welcome to another SSJ review. This time we're looking at the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters Deluxe class Riplclaw. Now this is the second Deluxe class Predacon in the Beast Hunters line. The first being Laserback, which I was not too big a fan of, as that was more like a tiger dog dragon. This is more of a traditional dragon Predacon, as it has a real long kind of scorpion-like tail, which is extremely articulate. We'll get into that a little bit later. It has a neat little gimmick there. It has really neat dragon wings, and the head sculpt is a little bit more traditional dragonish, as more reptilian with the kind of blaze in the side. The positioning in the legs is also a little bit canine-ish, but also can be reptilian also. The only thing I don't really care for is the color scheme. I would have preferred more of a all-around red, orange, and yellow color scheme, not this kind of teal or aqua green. Not really a huge fan of the color. But as far as articulation goes, he does have a ball jointed neck, which is attached to his lower jaw, and the upper half of his jaw is this kind of rubber piece that can slide open and close. Right now it's closed. You can kind of position it open and you can look straight down, forward, and it can go all the way around. Ball jointed shoulders with a kind of a limited elbow in the front forearm, because this piece kind of blocks it. If this was shaped a little bit different, it could go a little bit more. It has a swivel on the inside there, and you can move his front claws a little bit. His hips are on ball joints as well, and his knees can have a little bit of movement in it, and like his kind of chicken leg knee also is a little bit too, and he has ball jointed ankles. And you can take his tail off this little hinge here, and it becomes extremely waggly, and you can see it's kind of like one of those old school like toy snakes, where it just has a kind of a coiled piece of rubber in the middle of it that kind of gives it a little give. But overall very expressive. Or you can leave it attached to this piece here and bring it all the way forward like that. Bring it down, kind of have it drag along the ground like that. Speaking of the tail, when you open it up, this little piece moves a tiny bit, and you press a button and it will close, kind of. There we go. Again, like so. Just like all the Predacons so far, I really do like the Dragon mode better than the Robot mode, but this one has a pretty decent Robot mode, which we'll get to in a second. But this is one I would also really consider heavily displaying in Dragon mode, just because it has a lot more of a intense presence in the way that it looks. To start the transformation, you can leave this little gun piece on, but I prefer to take it off just to be a little bit more different looking from the Dragon mode. Take that off, extend out the legs, take this little piece, bring it down, and it'll kind of peg in place down here at the bottom. Do the same thing for this side. Legs are just about done. Bring the tail down. Get his arms out, or her arms out of the way. Separate the chest. Bring down the chest piece. Bring up the shoulders, and bring in the front claws. Fold out the hands. Fold those down. You have kind of like a funky looking bipedal dragon going on there. separate the neck in half. And these will become kind of shoulder pads. Lay out the wings, just kind of fold the dragon head back on the back. And there you have Riplclaw in Dragon mode. Riplclaw in Robot mode is very odd looking. It is very reminiscent of the animated Snarl figure, with a kind of a stumpy looking torso with a collar piece that wraps around that the head is kind of sunken into. But all around it just looks decent. There's nothing all around bad about it. Just is very much overshadowed by a very, very cool looking Dragon mode. It does have the kind of the same symptoms from Voyager Predicane, where the wings just kind of sit there, don't do anything, don't do much with them. All around though, it is kind of, I'm not sure of the yellow splashes that were on the dragon neck that are now on the shoulders, and some of the on the upper arms are intentional or mistakes in the factory, but it does kind of mistakenly, if so, give a little bit of a more unique look. I do like the Predacon symbol on the chest, although I would have preferred it have been kind of that bright orange Predacon logo look, not just a black stamp. But overall, not bad. Articulation though, it feels like she does have a ball joint in the head, but because of this collar piece all around it, it's very hard to do anything with it. Of course, the wings are still articulated. These shoulder pieces can move up and down to allow for some open range of movement in the shoulders. Shoulders are exactly the same, elbows are exactly the same, wrist pretty much the same thing, just even though this one piece is missing. It does have a waist joint there, so it can get some pretty good looking statuesque poses. Same thing with the legs, but it's missing now that chicken leg joint there, so it just has a basic hinge there now at the leg, and the same thing at the ankle. You can detach the tail in robot mode, but it's more or less pointless because it's still just going to be pointed towards the ground, especially if you don't have the claw weapon on there. So yeah, pretty just decent looking robot mode, but you can take the claw here and attach it in her hands, so it can become a weapon. Or what you can also do is also leave it on the tail itself, bring it up, and it can kind of act like a stinging scorpion tail like that, but prefer to leave it off. As the second Deluxe class Predacon in the Beast Hunters line, this is immensely better than the first one, Laserback. Overall, I found Laserback is kind of just a mediocre figure overall, but this one is far superior as far as Dragon mode, transformation, and Robot mode is still a little bit lacking, but still immensely better than Laserback. I do think this is probably the best looking Deluxe that's going to be coming out as far as Predacons go in future waves. So if you're only going to get one Deluxe in the Predacons line, I would definitely recommend this one. If they decide to repaint it later on in a bit more traditional Predacon paint scheme, then I would say go for that one too. But if they only, as of right now, this is the only planned painted version of this, I would still go ahead and get, because it is still a very superior mold. I definitely recommend picking this one up if you only want to get one Deluxe Predacon. Alright, until next time, thank you for watching.